Hello and welcome. My name is Kripa
And I'm Akriti.
and we are the articles of JPNR Corporate Consultants Private Limited, and today we are here to speak on a very crucial topic for businesses operating in GST.
Which is ITC, Input Tax Credit.
So for the listeners who are new to GST, what is ITC?
ITC helps us reduce the tax we pay on sales by claiming a credit on the tax paid on purchases. So, if I've paid GST on the input and services used by my business, I can offset it by the GST paid by the customers.
So it's a way to avoid tax on tax?
Yes, it enables for GST to be collected only on value added. And hence, this is the sole motive of the whole tax system. Now, Kripa, can you tell me who all can claim ITC?
So as per section 16, every registered persons who are supplying goods or services are entitled to take input tax credit subject to certain conditions. The first condition is he must be in possession of the tax invoice or the debit note. The second is that the recipient must be communicated through form GSTR 2B. The third is he must have received the goods or services or both. The fourth point is that the supplier of goods or services must have paid tax to the government either in cash or through the utilization of GST.
So, what if they don't pay the tax?
If they do not pay tax until 30th September following the end of the financial year, the ITC claimed by the recipient needs to be reversed until 30th November following the end of the financial year. However, the recipient can claim this ITC on when the supplier pays the tax to the government. The next point being that the recipient must make the payment to the supplier within 180 days from the date of issue of invoice. If the same has not been made, then the ITC related to such amounts needs to be reversed. The last point is that when the registered persons claim depreciation on the tax component, then the recipient cannot claim ITC on such tax component.
So, you mean both buyer and seller has to be compliant for better working of ITC?
Yes, absolutely. So, do we get credit for all the goods and services?
Absolutely not. ITC cannot be claimed on motor vehicles used for transportation of persons and if the seating capacity is less than 30. It cannot be claimed if aircrafts are used for the transportation of persons. ITC is blocked on goods and services used for the construction of immovable properties. It is also not available in the following cases such as food and beverages, membership of clubs, and cosmetic and plastic surgeries.
So even if I pay GST on them, I cannot claim it?
No, ITC can be only claimed for items used during business purposes and those which are not stated above. By the way, how do businesses claim ITC?
They need to collect all their purchase invoices for a particular month, reconcile it with GSTR 2B, which is an auto-generated ITC summary, check the eligibility criteria, file GSTR 3B and claim it.
By the way, and what happens if you miss claiming ITC on an invoice?
For that, you have until 30th November following the end of the financial year or the date of filing the annual return, whichever is earlier to claim it. After that, it's lost.
So you mean recording and timing both are very critical?
Yes. So what are the possible mistakes while claiming ITC?
A very good question. The common mistakes while claiming ITC are claiming ITC on blocked items and if they are not matching with 2B, if the filing of the returns have been done late and if ITC has been claimed on invoices on which goods are not received. So now we would like to talk about the new updates in input tax credit.
The GST network is constantly introducing new features for the compliance of the taxpayers. The latest is IMS, which is known as the Invoice Management System, which was introduced on 14th October 2022. Through IMS, the recipients can accept, reject or keep their invoices pending. Mismatches between the invoices filed by the supplier and the returns submitted by the recipients are a major issue while claiming ITC.
Secondly, there is another concept known as input service distributor. For example, if an organization has multiple registrations under the same PAN, it has to register one of its registration as input service distributor, through which it will distribute the credit to other registrations. Prior to 1st April 2025, it was optional, but now it has become mandatory to distribute this credit to every registration. For example, a company is ABC Limited and it has 3 registrations, Mumbai, Kolkata and Delhi. It incurs an annual software expense for all 3 registrations, but the payment is borne and invoices are received by the Mumbai branch. Here, Mumbai cannot receive all the ITC claimed for itself, but it has to distribute it to the other 2 registrations too.
Now, which returns have to be filed by an ISD and how can the branches claim the ITC? So, when the supplier supplies services to the ISD, then it gets reflected in the 2B of the ISD. The ISD registration then files GSTR 6 by the 13th of the succeeding month, and which is reflected in the GSTR 6A of the branches, which is an auto-populated form. The branches can then claim it in GSTR 3B. Also, an ISD is not required to file GSTR 9. So, to wrap up, what are the major tips for optimizing ITC?
Here are some of the very important tips. Reconcile with GSTR 2B regularly, deal with GST compliant vendors only, and maintain a record of all invoice documentation. And last, stay updated with all the GST rules. They keep on changing.
Now we would like to end this episode,
and we hope that it gave a clearer view of ITC to everyone.
Thank you.